You wake up with your cheek kissing the moist, dark concrete below. You can scarcely even remember how you got here. But as you awaken and come to, rising shakily to your feet, the most strange and wonderful thought comes over you. Have you finally escaped? Because the locale that surrounds you isn't an endless office or an underground industrial hell, nor a haunted hotel or a vast, terrifying ocean. It's a suburb at twilight, one that you vaguely remember. Did you grow up here? You've spent decades trying to repress some of the more unpleasant details of your childhood and adolescence. Rejection, bullying, the shame and disappointment of your parents and teachers, so the background of all these censored scenes seems oddly blurred. You breathe in the cool night air. It feels fresh. It feels real. Can it be true that after all the fear and suffering, all the lessons to make you appreciate what little you had in your native reality, the backrooms have spit you back out into it? It is possible, but you need more data to confirm or deny either way. You begin wandering the dark and desolate streets. It feels familiar, of course, but something feels off, something hard to even articulate. There seems to be no cars, not even parked in the driveways of the many middle-class houses and cheap-looking McMansions. Though you reassure yourself that plenty of people in the suburbs have garages, which could explain why there aren't any visible cars. And who's driving through the suburbs at night, anyway? The streetlights are sparse and dim, barely cutting through the gloom, but considering the truly supernatural darkness you've experienced before, your eyes are quick to adjust. A cool mist hangs in the air, caressing your skin. You're hopeful, but not stupid. You're always on the lookout for new entities hiding around every corner, even if you want to believe you've finally escaped the backrooms. You've been through too much to be a fool anymore. Tired of ambiguity, you decide it's time to take a more direct approach. You approach the nearest house and knock on the front door. If you've escaped and you wake the people up inside, they'll probably think you're a huge jerk, but it's at least the most direct way to answer your burning question. But there is no answer. You knock again, a little harder this time. Nothing. You can feel your heart rate beginning to quicken. Perhaps one more knock. Maybe they're heavy sleepers, right? That could always be the case. You rap your knuckles against the door. Knock, knock, knock. To your surprise, it just swings open, revealing a dark hallway within. Almost automatically, you step inside, wanting to at least know what's happening here. Curiosity killed the cat, but satisfaction brought it back. But in this case, the more you find out about this strange situation you've walked into, the more unnerved you feel. You notice that all the photo frames in the house are empty or oddly blurred, like you're in a display house. You try the light switch. Nothing. The power must be out. All the evidence is mounting that something isn't right here. You pull out your flashlight to aid in the search. The house is eerily empty. Something is so wrong here. There are seemingly no signs of human habitation in here. None at all. This place is dead. Eventually, you find yourself in what you assume must be the master bedroom. Strangely, you see that the bed is a mess in here, implying that perhaps someone had slept here not too long ago. That's a good sign, right? You then notice a written note on a large, heavy cabinet to your left. You pick up the note. The top of it reads, "I fell through the floor. I sunk down and landed in an unfamiliar place. There were no spiders, but still I felt like I was being watched. Around me there was a street, houses and dead trees everywhere. My head felt and still feels fuzzy, like TV static in my brain. I lost consciousness, but apparently had an outburst. According to Centurion, I was talking about death, pain, weakness, all kinds of awful things. Level 9 is level 6 on crack. I can tell there are going to be things, but the effects on your mind are bad, almost as bad as level 6. Well, there goes your hope of escape. Welcome back, Explorer. Surely you didn't think it'd be that easy, did you? Truth be told, kid, we're just getting started. So you better buckle in and enjoy the ride as best you can. This is Level 9, the Suburbs. Doesn't it just feel so homely? Suburbia. You're not alone. The lights are on, but no one's home. Well, the lights aren't on, but the point still stands. You're stuck in the backrooms, and if that note is to be believed, there are entities on this level who will want to keep you company. We probably don't need to tell you that these entities are best avoided. But lucky for you, there is one more paragraph on that note. It reads, "But hey, it's not all doom and gloom. I think it's already too late for me, but I've left you with a parting gift. It's called a pocket, the weird little piece of jewelry next to the note." You take another look at the cabinet. There's a strange silver brooch with a glowing stone embedded in the center. You feel an almost instinctive hum of power coming off of it that compels you to pick it up. You run your finger across the stone, feeling its subtle charge of supernatural energy course through you. What is this strange little charm? You continue reading the note. This is one of the most valuable objects you can find around here. It lets you put anything of any size, as long as it's not alive and inorganic, in your own little private pocket dimension for safekeep. Word to the wise, if you put anything particularly large or heavy in there, don't re-manifest it above your own head. Though if you've made it this far, I hope you're not that stupid. Good luck, fellow explorer. I hope you get out. It feels like a prank, more bizarre trickery, until you decide to test it out by touching the pocket to the cabinet, causing the whole thing to immediately disappear. Even after all the blatantly supernatural things you've seen down here, somehow that still shocks you. You're capable of doing actual magic here. There's no denying that's incredibly cool. Well, if this is just another Backrooms level, then the same rules apply. You need to get out of here and find your way to the next one before you lose your mind or get eaten, or worse, by some kind of horrific nightmare beast. From where you're standing, there's really no time to waste. You make your way back outside onto the dark, cold streets. The concrete below is cracked and worn with dry brown leaves scattered across it. It somehow simultaneously feels like this suburb is 100 years old and built fresh last week. Such is the unsettling effect of the backrooms. As you begin traversing the dark, damp asphalt roads, you run into the last thing you expect, a group of human beings. They seem tired and dirty, bunched into a tight formation with oddly hollow, vacant eyes. You approach them, hoping to share some information you found about the level and maybe trade some vital supplies. But the closer you get, the more you seem to realize that this is not going to happen. The man at the front of the group turns to you as you approach and says, "Have you heard the good word?" You reply that no. It's been quite some time since you've heard any good words down here. He doesn't seem to appreciate the joke. Instead, he pulls out a photograph of a hyacinth blue macaw, which appears to be covered in kiss marks. He and the rest of the group seem to show an almost holy reverence for this bright blue parrot. They all begin to chant uncomfortably out of sync, "Jerry is everything! Jerry is what I live for! All hail Jerry!" Jerry presumably being the macaw. You're really not ready to commit to a new system of faith right now, parrot-related or otherwise. So you nod politely and walk briskly away from the crowd of Jerry devotees. You just get the sense that you're going to be better off elsewhere rather than sticking with these parrot proselytes. As you keep walking, you try to take in deep lungfuls of that cool night air and regulate the pace of your breathing. You remember what it said in that note you read earlier. I can tell there are going to be things, but the effects on your mind are bad. Almost as bad as level 6. Considering that level 6 was the site of your previous full-blown mental breakdown, you're not exactly eager for a do-over. You're going to try to keep thinking happy thoughts, despite it all, and find your way out of here. Suddenly, you hear childish giggling and cheering. You quickly look around, worried you're going to be suddenly surrounded by a horde of blade-wielding child facelings. But no, there's nothing standing around you. Oddly enough, you begin to realize that the noises you heard seem to be coming from directly above you. You steel yourself and look up. About 50 feet in the air above you, there are strange flocks of multicolored kites, or at least flying entities that look like kites. Despite the eeriness of the childlike noises, you get the sense that these entities mean you no harm. They're all just flying away in one uniform direction. How odd. You keep walking, acknowledging that on some level the backrooms could occasionally be beautiful in their own very peculiar, very unsettling way. After walking for a little longer, you see some lights in the distance. They're moving. Could that be a group of people with flashlights? You get closer, hoping this could be a group of fellow explorers who hadn't fallen into the thrall of Jerry. But as you get closer, you begin to realize that the silhouettes of these new people emerging from the distant haze are not people at all. In fact, they're a group of giant eyeballs, walking on their clusters of optic nerves. Each one has a beam of light emerging from its pupil. These friendly fellows are known as the Neighborhood Watch. And as you wisely intuit that you do not want to be caught in one of those beams and start running in the other direction, the watch seems to notice your frantic footsteps, though, and begins chasing after you. They don't want any interlopers destroying the beautiful tranquility of their suburb. You run until you pass the group of indoctrinated humans from earlier, still chanting their Hail Jerrys. You desperately trying to warn them of the incoming threat, but they just don't seem to listen. And then, it's too late. A pair of watchers, the most common variety of neighborhood watch, which float and project their glowing eye beams, approach. The second the eye beam passes through the group of Jerry devotees, the devotees immediately disintegrate into ash. And most upsettingly of all, the ash somehow kept screaming. Is it time to run? Again? Just like you always do. That's when something inside of you just snaps. You've spent your whole life running. From your bullies, from your obligations, from your regrets, from your whole life. And ever since you've gotten into the backrooms, you've been constantly on the run too. But not here. Not now. You've survived 9 levels of hell being thrown at you. Now it's time to throw a little hell back. Barely even comprehending your own actions, you run over to one of the 2 watchers at breakneck speeds and grab it by the back of its eyeball, where the tendril-like optic nerve connects. You turn it sharply to the side, catching the other watcher in its beam and turning it to ash. It feels good to give that freak a taste of its own medicine, but you're not done. Before the watcher you're grappling with can wrestle free, you grab it by its optic nerves and swing it into the asphalt below again and again, until its eye splatters into dead goo all along the unpainted road. You feel like an ancient berserker, undefeatable, a whole lifetime of anger and regret manifested in pure and elegant violence. Then you hear something running at you from the darkness at intense speeds. It's a strider, the second most common type of neighborhood watch creature. Its optic nerves have formed into 6 giant 8-foot-long legs, and if it touches you with its giant eye, you will be irrevocably absorbed into its mass. You can't fight this one like you fought the 2 watchers it's coming to avenge, and it's too fast for you to possibly outrun. Is this the end? That's when you have an idea, perhaps the most brilliant of your life, and it's the only thing that can possibly save you right now. You just need to make sure you time it perfectly, because you've only got one chance. You reach into your pocket for, well, the pocket. As the strider is mere meters away from you, you run your thumb over its glowing stone on the center of the brooch. Picture what you want to happen and hope. The strider is getting so close. You can see the hunger in its freakish bulbous eye. Then, right above it, the huge heavy cabinet from the master bedroom manifests and falls like a hammer from God. The strider never saw it coming, but the last thing it ever saw was that cabinet falling down onto its eye from above and splattering it against the asphalt. The strider lays dead. Your KD ratio, 3-0 to you. Well done, explorer. You really have come a long way, haven't you? Perhaps these monsters should be afraid of you. You breathe a sigh, surrounded by the ash that used to be a human and watcher, and the unpleasant slime of 2 exploded eyeballs. The only thing left intact is a photograph of a hyacinth blue macaw laying on the ground. All hail Jerry, indeed. All you can do is keep walking down the dark and empty roads of level 9. It all seems so identical, until you notice a grassy area off the side of one of the roads. Interesting. You feel like appreciating something a little more scenic, a little off the beaten track. And is that light you see in the distance? This could be the beginning of a whole new adventure. Who knows what wonders and nightmares await for you on the other side? You smile and walk towards the light across the grass. Want to stay tuned for the next exciting exploration into the backrooms as we delve deeper and deeper into this liminal abyss? Be sure to subscribe to the Backrooms Explained and turn on notifications so you never miss another expedition. Now go check out Level 10, the Field of Wheat, for more exercises into Backrooms terror.